What if I told you there's a secret process to learn any new skill so quickly it feels like you're cheating? I know it might sound a little crazy, but stick with me for the next few minutes and I'll show you how to hack your learning process and accelerate your skill acquisition like never before. Whether you want to learn a new language, master a musical instrument, or pick up a new career skill, this video is for you. By the end, you'll know how to unlock more of your brain's full potential and learn anything faster than ever. Let's get started. First, let's talk about the science behind learning. Your brain is an incredible learning machine. In fact, you have something called neuroplasticity. Your brain's ability to change and adapt at any age or stage in life. No matter how old you are, your brain can form new connections and new pathways every single day. Now, the key to learning faster is understanding how to trigger that brain power in the most efficient way. When we learn in the traditional sense, we often approach it in a slow, boring, tedious way, taking in information piece by piece. But here's the secret. It doesn't have to be that way. To really speed up your learning, I follow a simple 4-step process. You could call it the Kwik Learning Method. These are the exact steps that I use and teach others to learn anything quickly. And they've helped me learn skills from speed reading to memorizing entire books. Let's break it down. Number 1, activate your motivation. The first step to learning anything faster is motivation. The more motivated you are to learn, the easier it is for your brain to process new information. In my book, Limitless, I break motivation down to a very simple formula. Motivation equals P times E times S3. Purpose times energy times small, simple steps. So let's take a deeper look at each part of this formula and understand how they work together to help you unlock your learning potential. First, we have the P, which is purpose. The question is, why are you learning this? What's the real reason behind it? When you have a clear why, something that really matters to you, it fuels your motivation. Remember, reasons reap results. Purpose gives your brain direction and fuel. It helps you stay engaged, especially when the going gets tough. It gets you through that learning gap where you are to where you want to be. So it helps provide the resilience, if you will, the impetus to get through that struggle. And with struggle, you get strength, right? You get a new ability or a new insight, a new wisdom, more knowledge. It's the powerful force that keeps you going, even on the days when maybe you want to procrastinate, your motivation feels low. Just think about it. When you're working on something you truly care about, you don't have to force yourself. You don't have to psych yourself up. You're naturally drawn to it. When you're learning with purpose, it transforms the task from something you have to do into something that you want to do. Next, we've got the E, which is energy. Motivation requires mental energy, brain energy, and without proper nutrition, sleep, exercise, stress management, even the best learning methods won't work as well. You can't build a skyscraper on a weak foundation, and the same goes for your learning. Your brain is like a high-performance engine, so it needs fuel to run. Successful learning depends on taking care of your body, and part of your body is your brain. When you're well-rested, you're well-nourished, and you're physically active, so you have more oxygen going to your brain is prime more for learning. In fact, brain health is one of the most overlooked yet crucial, critical parts of sustained motivation. Without energy, motivation simply fizzles out. Finally, let's talk about S3, small, simple steps. S3. This is about breaking down your goals into tiny, manageable actions. The idea here is very simple. Progress is better than perfection. By focusing on small, achievable steps, you reduce overwhelm, overload. You could build momentum, but the key is consistency. Little by little, a little becomes a lot. When you take action every day, no matter how small, you start to see results. And this builds what? A sense of accomplishment. You get the dopamine, which is the molecule of motivation, and it reinforces your motivation. Remember, motivation isn't about going all in from day one. It's about building small, tiny habits that over time creates big changes. Once you align your purpose, manage your energy, and break things down into small, simple steps, motivation becomes unstoppable. Number 2, focus like a laser beam. Focus is probably the number one skill you need to learn anything more quickly. In a world that's constantly pulling for our attention in every direction, focus is more important than ever. If you want to learn faster, you need to train your mind to focus deeply on the task at hand. The key to accelerated learning is being able to dive deep into a task without distractions. When you focus on something fully, you activate the brain's attention system, and that's when your neural connections start firing, which leads to better retention and faster understanding. You see, your brain isn't designed to multitask, and neither are you. Trying to do multiple things at once only splits your focus and reduces the quality of what you're learning. So here's a quick exercise to help you get started. Try to focus on just one thing for just 10 minutes without distractions. That means no phone, no email, no social media, just you, your task, and complete focus. Feed your focus, starve your distractions. I know it sounds simple, but it's a challenge. Can you do it? The more you practice this deep focus, the better your brain will get at making those critical neural connections that help you learn faster, right? It's use it or lose it. So here's your challenge. Eliminate distractions and commit to focus learning. Set aside a dedicated block of time and make sure you're in a distraction-free environment. It's not always perfect, but go for progress. If you want to learn faster and better, you need to give your brain the time and the space to focus like a laser beam. Remember, it's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. When you could focus deeply, you supercharge your brain's ability to absorb, to retain, to think, and to apply what you've learned. The more you practice focus, the more limitless your learning ability becomes. Now let's move on to number 3. Teach what you learn. You've probably heard me say this. When you teach something, you get to learn it twice. In fact, this concept is one of my favorite limitless learning accelerators, and it's a complete game changer for mastering any subject or any skill. Teaching is one of the most powerful ways to solidify your knowledge, and here's why. When you teach, you're forced to organize and articulate the information that you've learned. They call it the explanation effect. The process of explaining and breaking things down helps turn passive learning into active mastery. In other words, by teaching someone else, you're engaging with that material at a much deeper level. You're reinforcing what you've learned, and you're filling in any gaps in your understanding. So let's break this down into 4 key benefits. Number 1, it increases your retention. When you know what you'll be teaching someone else, what you've learned, you pay closer attention. You engage more deeply with that material. You can't just skim through it. You have to truly understand it in order to explain it to someone else. This leads to better retention and better recall because you're actively reinforcing the material. Number 2, it clarifies your own understanding. You see your gaps in what you know and what you don't know. Teaching forces you to explain things out loud. And when you do this, you start to notice where those gaps are in your own understanding. You might realize, I thought I understood this concept, but now that I have to explain it, I could see I'm missing key pieces. This self-awareness helps you to refine your knowledge and really solidify your own understanding. Number 3, it helps to boost your confidence. When you teach, you reinforce your own belief in your own abilities. By explaining complex concepts in a clear way, you're proving to yourself that you understand it. You have evidence that you understand it. This will obviously boost your confidence and strengthen your self-belief in your own ability to learn and grow. Number 4, it creates contribution. Teaching not only helps you, but it also helps others, right? You learn to earn to return. When you share what you know, you contribute to someone else's path, to their learning, to their growth journey. And this creates a sense of purpose. It creates a sense of external connection and internal connection to what you know. And it reinforces the idea that what you know is so valuable, not just to you, but to others. So whether you're explaining something to a friend, maybe you're teaching a colleague, or even creating a lesson to share online, remember the intention matters, right? Teaching is a powerful tool for accelerating your own learning. It forces you to engage with the material on a whole nother level, and it helps you to go from learning to mastering. Let's move on to number 4, practice. Now, we've all heard the phrase practice makes progress, right? Not perfect, but progress. In my book, Limitless, I emphasize deliberate repetition, not just mindless review. This is where most people get it wrong. You can go over material again and again, but if you're not actively engaging with it, you're not truly learning. So let's break this down. First, repetition builds neural connections. Every time you revisit something that you've learned, you're essentially strengthening the neural pathways in your brain. Think of it as adding layers, maybe to a bridge. The more you practice, the stronger that bridge becomes, and the easier it is to access that information when you need it. Repetition allows your brain to retrieve information faster and makes recall much more automatic. Second, there's something even more powerful than basic repetition, which is spaced repetition. This is when you review material at spaced intervals instead of cramming everything at once. Research shows that reviewing content over longer periods, not just the night before where you're cramming an all-nighter for an exam, it helps you move information from your short-term memory into your long-term memory. This is how learning sticks. It's much more effective to review material on a regular basis, whether it's daily, weekly, or even monthly, than trying to cram it all at once. Third, repetition with variation. Instead of reviewing material the same exact way every single time, whether it's just reading it over and over, try different methods. It could be visual, verbal, or maybe a written review. For example, after reading a chapter, try explaining it to someone else. Then try writing a summary. Or you could draw diagrams to illustrate the key points. Changing the way you engage with the material keeps your brain active and engaged, improving your own retention. I believe repetition is the mother of mastery, but it's not just any kind of repetition. It needs to be smart, it needs to be active, and it needs to be intentional. So your challenge today is to implement deliberate practice into your learning. Go back and review what you've learned in a way that keeps your brain engaged, whether it's through spaced intervals or different methods for your review. The more strategic you are with your practice, the quicker you'll move from novice to expert. So now it's your turn. Implement this 4-step quick learning method: motivation, focus, teach, and practice into your learning process. Start small, stay consistent, and watch as your brain unlocks its limitless potential. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, comment. I speed read all the comments. Your feedback is very much appreciated. And most of all, subscribe for more actionable learning strategies on how to optimize your brain and take it to the next level. Until next time, stay limitless.